So for lesson 9, you will notice my balance has on the left side x plus star, and on my right side equals 0. Any ideas of, and if I'll just go ahead and tell you, this is true. This is a true equation. So any ideas how that could be possible? X plus star equals 0. Think about maybe the relationship. Remember I said yesterday, I think Grace asked, like, I don't remember your exact question, but something about like the difference between x and star. So how could this be possible? Think about that relationship. You want to take a guess, Claire? So they are worth 0. So are you saying this is 0 and this is 0? Okay, so that could be a way that it would work. Okay. Maggie?
Well, it's kind of what Claire said, but when you have when the blue pond, they both are equal. They have to be equal to the same number.
Sort of. Anthony?
Maybe you have to subtract.
Okay. Natalie?
So the blue pawn is worth 1, and then the white pawn, like, subtracts them to get to 0.
Okay, so if you put kind of everyone's ideas together, you would get the idea of this. So if I told you that x is 5, in this equation, let's say I told you is true, okay? So if x is equal to 5, what would your star have to be equal to in order to make this equation true, to make it be equal to 0? Nicole?
5.
Well, if this is 5, what would your star have to be? Because if it was 5 also, then it would be 5 plus 5, right, equals, that doesn't equal 0. Danny?
It could be negative 5.
How many people agree with Danny? So if your x is 5 and your star is negative 5, it's really, you're putting them together. 5 plus a negative 5, or 5 minus 5 equals, thank you, equals what? 0. So x and star, the relationship between them, Grace, they are called 0 pairs. When they are together on the same side of an equation, they are worth 0. They are opposites. So if I told you that x is negative 10, what would your star have to equal in order for this to be true? Because together, x and star equal 0. So if x is negative 10, star would be worth what? Anthony? 10, or positive 10. So they are opposites. Together, they create a 0 pair. That's what we call them, because they equal 0. Does that make sense? So I'm going to show you what we're doing today. We're going to solve some equations that look a little bit different from the setup of other equations that we've been doing all along. And these problems, we actually are going to evaluate. Any ideas what the word evaluate means? What does that mean if you want to evaluate something? Talk it over with your table. What do you think that means?
I know in softball we have softball evaluations.
What is that? What do you do?
Like to see what team you're on.
Oh, like a test.
Yeah.
See if you're good enough.
Any ideas? Natalie?
Well, like, I know, like so when you're in sports, you do, like, softball evaluation, soccer evaluation, so, whatever, and we see if you're, like, good enough for a certain team and where you rank and stuff.
Okay. So how would that apply to this? Do you think it would?
I don't know.
So that would be one meaning of evaluate, like I can evaluate to see if you do a good job. We're not going to evaluate the questions to see if they're good, or the equations. We're going to evaluate in the sense that we are going to like put everything together and get an answer. So we're going to evaluate and like solve. Okay, so this is, if you guys did not touch your pawns, it would be helpful so that you're seeing, you know, even if you are listening, you know, while you're playing, but other people might be distracted. So I'm going to write an equation. This is what you're going to see today and then in the future too for these type of problems. So again, if you could take your hands off your materials, that would be great. So this says, if x equals 2, evaluate. So that means evaluate this. 2x plus star plus x plus star plus 5. What's different about this equation that you're seeing? What do you notice, Maggie?
It has X's and it has stars.
Okay, so it has both x's and stars, so that's the first time that we're seeing that. Yesterday we just saw stars. Nina?
It doesn't have an equal sign?
It doesn't have an equal sign. Any ideas why it doesn't have an equal sign? Or do you see an equal sign in what's written for the problem? Because normally we would see like equals whatever on the right side. Natalie?
Well, I think it means like there's an equal sign like x equals 2.
Yeah.
So like I think that means like there's like you have to like if x equals 2 you have to see if this works or something like that.
Exactly. So that's how we're going to evaluate. So we have an equals here. We have a value for an x. So we're going to set up this equation on the left side of our balance. I know we don't have anything on the right side, but just because that's what we're used to. So we're going to set it up on our left side, and then we're going to talk about a legal move that can help us evaluate or get this answer. What we are going to try to figure out, and you'll see this on your homework, is the answer to this. We're evaluating this equation with the information that we have here. We know that x is equal to 2. We'll get to this in a minute, but right away, if you know that your x is worth 2, what's your star worth? Remember, they're opposites. So if your x is equal to 2, what's your star worth? Eva? Negative 2. So you'll see a way to solve this or evaluate. And I'll show you a quick legal move. It's kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I think it really applies to what we're doing, and it will make it really easy to evaluate these problems. So let's set up on our left side of our balance. So we have 2x. So go ahead and set up 2x plus star. It's hard for me to do it this way. Plus x plus star. So shove it all in. Plus 5. So we're trying to figure out the answer to this equation. So what did we decide? And let me write this down. I'll put this. Pause the video. Can you guys arrange that for me while I do this? Okay, so this was the first thing that we talked about today. We learned that x and star are opposites, and together x plus star equals 0. So if that's the case, but I just wanted the way that it was actually, right? Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, do you think that it would make sense, or does it seem reasonable, or do you understand that you could, because you have an x and a star here, remember I said we call them 0 pairs because together they're worth 0? So could you take a 0 off an equation without changing the balance? Yeah. So when you have an x and a star together, a 0 pair together on the same side, you can remove the 0 pair. So go ahead and take off that 0 pair. Exactly, that's what I was getting to next. So there actually are 2 0 pairs, right? On the same side. So we remove both 0 pairs, right? Because together they equal 0, so it doesn't change the balance of the equation. So now look how easy it is to evaluate and figure out what this is equal to. So we're left with our 5 and our x. It already told us in the problem x is equal to what? 2. So 2 plus 5 equals
7.
7. That's it.
Boom, that's easy.
And then
That's easy. Boom, that's easy.
for these problems, and I'll just kind of draw this out. So we did 2x plus star plus x. Oops, I'll give myself a little more room. Plus star plus 5. So we took off this 0 pair and this 0 pair, and we are left with 2 plus 5 equals 7. So for these evaluate problems, you don't have to do a check because all you're doing is solving to get the answer. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're plugging in what you know about your x and star values to solve and get the answer. Okay, so let's try another one. You can clear off your maths. So we're trying to get the answer. That's what we're evaluating. So this guy's star is equal to 4. So if star equals 4, what does x equal? Charlie?
-4.
-4. You guys are saying it like not just you. Other people said it like kind of like as a question. But you guys have to be sure. It's like definitive. You know they are opposites. Always they are opposites no matter what. So if one is a positive, the other is a negative. And then the other thing I just want to say, like this is a good example. Sometimes people, and by people I mean 5th graders, sometimes they, I don't know why, I maybe would do it too. Sometimes they tend to always associate star with being negative because we've done so much with x, so they think that star can only be negative. But that, of course, is not true. Here's a perfect example. Your star is actually a positive 4, so your x would be the negative. Okay, so let's set up this. So we're on our left side. So we have 3 star. So we're setting up 3 star plus x. Now we're subtracting a star plus 1. So what can we do? What's a legal move? I should have said that. Your legal move is removing 0 pairs from the same side. So what's a legal move, Christian?
Take the blue and white point. Take the star and the X away.
Or the 0 pair, right? So we can remove a 0 pair, and then when we remove our 0 pair, we're left with star plus 1. So if star is 4, what's the answer? 5. Everyone understand how to do it? Okay. So this is what we did. We did 3 star plus x, and then we subtracted a star plus 1. Then we removed a 0 pair, so we were left with 4 plus 1. Easy, right?
Yep.
Okay, let's do one more. I'll try not to erase all of my words. Okay. So now we're going to say if x is equal to -6, we're going to evaluate this problem. So this one I'm just going to write out for you so you can see it. So we're evaluating, and you can go ahead and set up your balance. So we have 2 star plus star plus 2x plus 5.
This is like another word that like the opposite.
And then we said x is equal to -6. So what's my legal move? What can I do? Tina?
Take 2 0 pairs off the.
Yeah, so I have 2 0 pairs because I have 2 stars and 2 x's. So I can take them off of the balance, and now I'm left with star plus 5. So if star, or if x is -6, star is 6. So we're doing 6 plus 5 equals 11. Any questions?
No.
Okay, Eric, you can turn it off.